In this video, I'd like to prove that for no more than £150, you can buy a set of cymbals that are not only decent quality, but are also pretty interesting. Then I'm going to show you a set of incredibly rare cymbals which I picked up for less than the price of a brand new A Custom Ride, to show how sometimes you're better off having more of a variety of specialist cymbals than you are having a very expensive one-size-fits-all setup. I'd like to start by showing you what are definitely the most sensible choice of the three sets of cymbals that I'm going to show you today, and they are the Zildjian ZHT. This is one of the four cymbals that I've got. And you know what? It's in really good condition. In fact, the whole set is in really good condition. And when I found these on Marketplace, they were listed for £200, which I didn't think was a bad price. They were only local, and I messaged the guy. I was like, I'll give you 150 quid. And he said, absolutely not. And then a few weeks later, they were still for sale. And I was like, I'll give you 150 quid. And he was like, go on then. They've even got the sound edge hi-hats, the master sound as they call them on here, which is a name that's been lent from the A Custom line. And the crinkly bottom cymbal on a master sound is designed to let the air escape faster, apparently. Whether it really does that or not, I don't really know. I'm going to say it doesn't, but you can see when they hit together, basically, that there's a little bit of air that can escape there. So, great. Now, apparently these are B12 bronze, and they're meant to give a better low to mid frequency than a standard B8 bronze cymbal. They are 88% copper and 12% tin, and B8 is 92% copper and 8% tin. So the extra 4% of copper, that's what you're paying for. I found a couple of reviews of these. They're not the most positive, to be honest. I mean, Music Radar seemed to like them. They said that the hi-hats were genuinely pro, and that some of the crashes and rides lack the projection of higher-end cast models. That's not actually that positive, is it? They were seen as serious-looking, medium-price cymbals. And then I found a couple of different reviews which didn't really rate them, to be honest. Another one said, ZHTs are awful. If you have the budget, another $20 to $25 can go a long way in the used market. I think you're going to need more than $25. I mean, you can probably pick one of these crashes up for what? 50 quid, 60 quid? The equivalent, if you want a 17-inch A Custom, you're going to be looking at like 120 quid each. That's not a bad price even so. I don't fully agree with that, and I don't think these are too bad. That said, I don't think they're very interesting. The other two sets of cymbals, they're more interesting. They're probably not better, but they are more interesting. Next, I'd like to show you something that I very much lusted after when I was about 14, and it's not Kirsten Dunst, it's actually some Zildjian ZXT Titaniums. These didn't sell particularly well, from what I can gather, and you don't see them actually come up that often, particularly not as a full set like the set I'm about to show you. Now, these have a laser engraved logo, apparently, so that it doesn't actually wear off, and they used this kind of special coating to make them look titanium, but in fact there's actually about as much titanium in them as my mate's Ford Mondeo titanium, and they're actually a B8 sort of bronze, so they're a fairly cheap cymbal, to be fair. I mean, the ZXT were never a great line. We've got this 10-inch fast splash, which I think is probably the best of the bunch, to be fair. Fairly thin, and not too bad, I don't think. Now, these were criticised as being a bit one-dimensional, really, in their sound, and we're actually going to try a little experiment which I've seen on Reddit with these afterwards, which will be interesting to say the least. They're quite a cool looking cymbal. I can see why I wanted them 15 years ago. Next we have the Rock Crash, which is a sort of a big slab of a thing, really. No flex really whatsoever. I mean, compare that to this, look, my Vulcan here. Yeah, a lot going on there. This, nothing at all. Quite heavy. And the problem with heavy cymbals is that you have to hit them hard to get a good tone out of them, otherwise you get a dong like this, look. Let me show you what I mean. Don't have to hit it hard, which makes it much more dynamic to play, in my opinion. Now finally, in this set, we have the ride cymbal, which is again a rock ride. Very heavy again, you know, or very thick. And these have been kind of criticised for being quite glass-like, and apparently when you're trying to EQ and mix, then the ride particularly seems to get in the way of the snare drum, apparently. I didn't mind the stick sound of it. I thought it was actually okay. I thought they were more interesting than the ZHT, but they are very much, you know, a kind of one-trick pony. But I just think they're cool, and I don't really care. I think they're cool. I would happily use these on the right gig. Imagine if you played in like a Daft Punk tribute. Yeah, with the space suits or whatever they wear. I'd be all over that, I would. Let's try this Reddit experiment. So it has been said that you can clean the ZXT Titanium with Windex. Now I don't have Windex, but I do have Windoline. And I've got a white cloth, a proper window cleaning cloth, and we're gonna see just how good they come up. I'm gonna try and do half the cymbal. It is raining a little bit, to be honest, but let's see if this works. I'm absolutely intrigued. Most cymbals, you'd never dream of doing this. See if it gets fingerprints and stuff off. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's making short work of where that tape was. Hey, you know what? This is great. Wow. I wonder if the stick marks will come off. You know what? I think Reddit, for once, I'll say for once, was right. Now this final set of cymbals that I want to show you are perhaps the most unusual and maybe the most interesting. This is one of a set of Tony Verdosa VFX cymbals made by Sabian in the early 2000s, and they're notable for this kind of iridescent coating, which apparently is why they were discontinued, because it was a coating that Sabian could no longer reproduce for reasons which I don't quite understand. Now these were designed to sort of sound like electronic cymbals apparently, and I've been told that they're quite sought after, although I don't know exactly by whom, but they're a very odd shape. This is a crash cymbal, a 16-inch crash. I don't know if you can see, but see how flat it is. If I compare that to another crash, one second. This is a Peisty 2002, which I have lying around. That's that, and you can see it kind of tapers, and then you can see the Tony Verdosa one. And the hi-hats are even weirder. For starters, they're 12-inch, which, okay, nothing massively crazy. But the top one has this really big bell on it. So, opposite to the crash. Look at this. And the bottom one is even weirder because it's got this very, very cool design on here, this kind of hammering, but it's entirely flat. So, yeah, no bell at all on that. And in just really, really thick, I don't know if you can see that, but it's probably got to be like 3mm thick, which is a lot for a hi-hat cymbal. And they're really, really heavy. So this is a 19-inch cymbal. You know, again, quite a heavy cymbal. And there's a lot of stick sound going on, which is good. There's not a lot of kind of wash going on. But I guess that's what they mean when they say about it kind of sounding electronic. You know, it's kind of a fast decay. Now at the start of this video, I set out to prove that you don't need to spend a fortune on the used market to find cymbals that you not only like, but are also a little bit interesting as well. And I really believe that I've done that. You know, the total cost of all the cymbals I've shown you today was around £600. That's for 3 pairs of hi-hats, 3 crashes, 3 ride cymbals, a china, and a splash as well. Now they may not be the best cymbals that you've ever heard in your life, but I really like the ZXT hi-hats, I quite like the ZHT china, and I really like the Tony Verdosa ride. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then leave a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to see some more content from me in the future. And I'll see you again in a fortnight. Don't forget to check out the competitions or become a member as well if you're interested, and I'll see you soon.